Imagine a time 2 million years ago, when the subtropical and tropical forests of southern China were home to an extraordinary giant. From 2 million years ago until as recently as 215,000 years ago, a colossal prehistoric primate roamed these lush landscapes. Weighing between 200 and 300 kilograms and standing as tall as 10 feet, this magnificent creature was known as Gigantopithecus. In this video, we delve into the fascinating world of Gigantopithecus. We'll explore its enormous size, its unique adaptations, and the environment it called home. How did it manage to thrive for nearly 2 million years? What did it eat? And how did it survive in a changing world full of predators and competitors? Join us as we uncover the mysteries of this giant primate, from its discovery to the latest research findings. We'll also consider the intriguing possibility of its interactions with early human ancestors. Could these encounters be the origin of legendary tales of giants like Bigfoot and the Yeti? Stay tuned as we journey back in time to bring to life the awe-inspiring story of Gigantopithecus. When it comes to its closest primate relative of today, is it gorillas, chimps, maybe us? No, Gigantopithecus is considered to be a sister genus of Pongo, the genus that contains living orangutans. A 2019 study done through peptide sequencing of dentine and enamel proteins, which analyzed the DNA of a 1.9 million-year-old fossil tooth, confirmed this. Gigantopithecus' closest living species today are the orangutans, who they once shared a common ancestor, and that the genera diverged from one another between just 10 million to 12 million years ago. Alongside finds in China, potential identifications have also been made in Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia. The species is known from 4 partial jaws and nearly 2,000 large molars, canines, and other teeth, and possibly a piece of distal humerus. Its scientific name, Gigantopithecus blacki, was named by anthropologist Ralph von Koenigswald in 1935. Von Koenigswald, working for the Dutch East Indies Mineralogical Survey on Java, had found the teeth in a drugstore in Hong Kong, where they were being sold as dragon bones to be used in traditional Chinese medicine. By 1939, after purchasing more teeth, he determined they had originated somewhere in Guangdong or Guangxi, situated along the north shore of the South China Sea. He was unable to formally describe the type specimen until 1952, because he was imprisoned as a prisoner of war by Japanese forces during World War II. In 1955, after the discovery, naming, and somewhat understanding of this magnificent species, a survey team led by Chinese paleontologist Pei Wenzhong was tasked with finding the original Gigantopithecus locality. They collected 47 teeth in Guangdong and Guangxi. In 1956, the team then discovered a third molar and premolar in a cave subsequently named Gigantopithecus Cave in Niusui Mountain, Guangxi. Also in 1956, Liucheng farmer Xu Huaiqin discovered more teeth and the first mandible on his field. From 1957 to 1963, the IVPP survey team carried out excavations in this area and recovered 2 more mandibles and more than 1,000 teeth. Confirmed Gigantopithecus remains have since been found in 16 different sites across southern China. The northernmost sites are Longgupo and Longdong, just south of the Yangtze River, and southernmost on Hainan Island in the South China Sea. The oldest remains date to 2 million years ago from Baikong Cave, and the youngest 380,000 to 310,000 years ago from Hay Cave. Interestingly, the reason why so many teeth have been found in caves and little else is likely due to porcupine activity. Porcupines gnaw on bones to obtain nutrients necessary for quill growth, and can haul large bones into their underground dens and consume them entirely, except the hard, enamel-capped crowns of teeth. This may explain why teeth are typically found in great quantity, and why remains other than teeth are so rare. In 1946, Jewish-German anthropologist Franz Weidenreich described Gigantopithecus as a human ancestor as Gigantanthropus, believing that the human lineage went through a gigantic phase. a lineage from Gigantopithecus, to the Javan ape Meganthropus, to Pithecanthropus, to Javanthropus, and finally Aboriginal Australians. Somehow, much debate followed whether Gigantopithecus was a hominin or not for the next 3 decades, until the out of Africa hypothesis overturned the multi-regional hypotheses and all others, and tons of evidence firmly placing humanity's origins in Africa. And do they really look like they could be our ancestor? I suppose a lot can change in a couple million years. But now, Gigantopithecus, rightly classified in the subfamily Ponginae, closely allied with Sivapithecus and Indopithecus, both also extinct apes of Asia. This of course makes Gigantopithecus's closest living relative, the orangutans. This extinct behemoth is practically a myth, 3 meters tall and up to 300 kilograms of brute strength. No other primate has ever reached such heights. The biggest current living primate is the gorilla. Silverback gorillas can weigh up to 180 kilograms and can reach heights of 6 feet when standing on 2 legs. Gigantopithecus was by far larger than any living hominoid, but with no post-cranial remains, how do we know how big it really was? Since the 1940s, different scientists have used various methods to estimate the size of Gigantopithecus. Most approaches involve examining the numerous teeth and 4 mandibles discovered, then comparing these dimensions to those of other well-known primates. In 1946, Weidenreich hypothesized that Gigantopithecus was twice the size of male gorillas. In 1957, Pei estimated a total height of about 12 feet. In 1970, Simons and American paleontologist Peter Ettel approximated a height of 9 feet and a weight of up to 270 kilograms, which is about 40% heavier than the average male gorilla. In 1979, American anthropologist Alfred Johnson Jr. used the dimensions of gorillas to estimate a femur length of 1 foot 9 inches and a humerus length of 2 feet 1 inches for Gigantopithecus, about 20 to 25% longer than those of gorillas. And the latest one in 2017, Chinese paleoanthropologist Yingqi Zhang and American anthropologist Terry Harrison suggested a body mass of 200 to 300 kilograms. Showing all scientists, using various methods with fairly solid consistency, Gigantopithecus must have stood between 9 to 12 feet tall and weighed between 200 and 300 kilograms. The average maximum length of the upper canines for presumed males is 21.1 millimeters and 15.4 millimeters for females, and the presumed male Gigantopithecus mandibles found are 40% larger than the presumed females. These imply sexual dimorphism, with males being larger than females, implying a high level of male-to-male competition. But the relatively small canines in both sexes suggest their teeth were not important in agnostic behaviors, in other words, for fighting. Such a high degree of dimorphism is only surpassed by gorillas among modern apes in canine size, and is surpassed by none for mandibular disparity. The molars are the biggest of any known ape, and the tooth enamel on the molars is in absolute measure the thickest of any known ape. Overall mandibular anatomy and tooth wearing suggests a side-to-side movement of the jaw while chewing. Gigantopithecus needed such large teeth and jaws for 2 main reasons. 1, because they fed on a tough, fibrous diet, including bamboo, hard fruits, and other plant materials. Large teeth and powerful jaws were essential for grinding and breaking down this tough vegetation effectively. And 2, because of its enormous size, Gigantopithecus would have needed to consume large amounts of food to meet its energy requirements. Big teeth and strong jaws would facilitate the efficient processing of the significant quantities of tough, low-calorie plant matter. Gigantopithecus was more than likely a herbivore. Carbon-13 isotope analysis on teeth suggests consumption of C3 plants, such as fruits, leaves, and other forest plants. Thick enamel suggests a diet of abrasive items, such as dirt particles on food gathered near or on the ground, like bamboo shoots, for example. Similarly, oxygen isotope analysis suggests Gigantopithecus consumed more low-lying plants, such as stems, roots, and grasses, than orangutans. Dental calculus indicates the consumption of tubers. Gigantopithecus molars have a high cavity rate of 11%, which could mean fruit was commonly included in its diet. Gigantopithecus does not appear to have consumed the commonplace savanna grasses, also known as C4 plants. 400,000 to 320,000-year-old Middle Pleistocene teeth from Hejiang Cave in southeastern China, so near the time of their extinction, show some differences from early Pleistocene Gigantopithecus material from other sites. The Hejiang teeth display a less level outer enamel surface due to the presence of secondary crests emanating from the paracone and protocone on the side of the molar closer to the midline, as well as sharper major crests. That is, the teeth are not as flat, which could potentially indicate that the Hejiang Gigantopithecus were a specialized form adapting to a changing environment with different food resources. If you're an animal, there are advantages to being gigantic. You're less vulnerable to predators, and you're able to cover a lot of territory when looking for food. This is what allowed Gigantopithecus to thrive in the tropical forests of China for almost 2 million years. Gigantopithecus remains are generally found in what were subtropical evergreen broadleaf forest in South China, except in Hainan, which featured a tropical rainforest. Carbon and oxygen isotope analysis of early Pleistocene enamel suggests Gigantopithecus inhabited dense, humid, closed canopy forest. Erectus Cave featured a mixed deciduous and evergreen forest dominated by birch, oak, and chinkapin, as well as several low-lying herbs and ferns. Interestingly, the carbon ratios in the other animals from the so-called Gigantopithecus cave revealed they were eating a mix of foods from both the savanna and the forest. That suggests that at the time the gigantic ape lived, Southeast Asia was a mosaic of forest and savanna. So Gigantopithecus lived near huge swaths of grassland, yet didn't forage in the nearby grasslands. Gigantopithecus likely spent its days focused on foraging for large quantities of food, resting and staying safe from predators, if they had any. It isn't actually known for sure just how Gigantopithecus got around. Was it bipedal, or did it use its arms to help it walk, like modern chimpanzees and orangutans? The only way to answer this is to collect more bones, hopefully one day. Its behavior would have been similar in some ways to modern large primates, but it is not clear if they lived in small groups or lived solitary, similar to their closest modern relative, the orangutan. If it lived in groups, grooming could be a part of its daily routine, helping to strengthen social bonds and maintain hygiene. Not much is known about its social behavior, but it may have used vocalizations, body language, and other forms of communication to interact with other members of its species. But unfortunately, we will never get to know for sure how this great beast really lived their life. Gigantopithecus shared its environment with a variety of animals, reflecting the rich biodiversity of the subtropical and tropical forests of southern China and Southeast Asia during the Pleistocene epoch. Some of the species include the modern giant panda's ancestors, Ailuropoda microta, which interestingly, like Gigantopithecus, also relied on bamboo as a primary food source. Elephants, various species of elephants, including the Asian elephant and its ancient relatives. Deer, several species of deer which would have been common in the forested environments. Homo. This genus, often referred to as the scimitar-toothed cats, had a wide distribution, including parts of Asia where Gigantopithecus lived. One animal that could have been a predator for the giant primates, especially the young ones. It is closely related to and possibly the ancestor of the famous Smilodon. Rhinoceroses, various species of ancient rhinoceroses that would have roamed the region. Bears, early bear species, which could have been both competitors and potential threats. And of course our most fearsome species, the reptiles. Ancient crocodiles lived in the rivers and swamps within the forests, and various snakes, both constrictors and venomous snakes that thrived in the warm climate. No doubt, both of these would have caused troubles for our ancient primate cousins. If there's one thing most animals have in common, it's that we are scared of crocodiles and snakes. Even monkeys and lesser apes, various species of monkeys and smaller apes, which shared the forest canopy and ground, likely eating the fruits of the canopy, where Gigantopithecus could not climb to reach. Although we have no evidence of contact, it appears that the archaic human species Homo erectus may have run into them in China, as their timelines do appear to overlap during the end of Gigantopithecus's reign. Lucky for us puny humans, Gigantopithecus was a herbivore. If Gigantopithecus did indeed interact with early humans, could this be the origin of the famous legends of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and Yeti? The tales of giant, hairy beasts roaming the woods. These stories may have been passed down from Homo erectus to Homo sapiens, who likely crossed paths with Gigantopithecus before its extinction. It's a fascinating possibility that adds a layer of intrigue to these enduring myths. But undoubtedly, these claims are not considered credible by mainstream scientists. In addition to natural climatic changes, some scientists long believed that Homo erectus may have contributed to the demise of Gigantopithecus. Both species likely shared habitats and competed for similar resources. Homo erectus, being more intelligent and adaptable, expanded its territory and developed more advanced tools and survival strategies. This expansion could have exerted additional pressure on the environment and resources that Gigantopithecus depended on. While there is no evidence of direct hunting, the presence of Homo erectus could have increased competition for food, putting additional stress on Gigantopithecus populations. But now researchers say prehistoric climate changes may have solely led to the species' downfall, according to a paper published this year in 2024 in the journal Nature. And the bigger they are, the harder they fall. The huge apes, it seems, couldn't adjust their diets to keep pace with the shifting environment, and their extinction was nothing to do with other archaic human presence in the region. Researchers analyzed pollen and sediments near sites of the fossil discoveries and found indications that an environmental shift occurred around that time, as more extreme wet and dry seasons led formerly dense forests to become interspersed with grassy areas. But the forest cover is still pretty high when Giganto goes extinct, so it wasn't just a deterioration of the forest. It was more Giganto's response to this changing plant community. Because of its sheer size, when food started to become scarce, it was so big it couldn't climb trees to explore new food sources. Evidence has shown Gigantopithecus enjoyed the soft fruits and flowers of their tropical habitat. But if these were not available, the apes may have turned to tree parts with low nutritional value, the researchers report. To reach this conclusion, scientists examined some of Giganto's remains that had been unearthed in southern China caves between the Yangtze River and the South China Sea. During this period of extinction, we see a lot more scratches and pits on the teeth, signs of chronic stress, since they could no longer eat their preferred fruits, which led to it eating more low-nutritional fibrous foods like bark and twigs. So it seems their extinction was due to their inability to shift their diet to keep pace with a changing climate, causing the downfall of this once free roaming giant. Paleontologist Julian Lewis of Australia's Griffith University cautions that the new study might not provide Giganto's full story. Though the team's evidence is convincing, they did not consider possible fossils of the species found in Thailand, Vietnam, or Indonesia, and one thing seems almost certain. Their actual geographical range through time would have been much greater than current fossils indicate, he tells the publication. How much this will affect the timing of the global extinction of the species is impossible, and only more time and research will tell the full story. There is no skull, no postcranial skeleton, and it is still very mysterious. In conclusion, Gigantopithecus was an incredibly successful species, thriving for nearly 2 million years, over 5 times longer than modern humans have existed. Roaming the tropical and subtropical rainforests of southern China, it stands as the largest primate ever known, a title it will likely hold forever. What's truly exciting is how much we still have to learn about Gigantopithecus. Future discoveries, especially skeleton fossils, could reveal more about their unique and fascinating anatomy. While much about Gigantopithecus remains a mystery, each discovery brings us closer to understanding how this remarkable primate lived and thrived in a world so different from our own. As we continue to explore and uncover the secrets of our planet's past, we not only learn about these fascinating creatures, but also gain insights into the forces that shaped our own evolutionary journey. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more intriguing explorations of ancient life. Thanks again, and goodbye.